The crisp autumn air brushed against Emily Carter's face as she stepped out of the airport, her heart pounding with excitement. London, the city of history, charm, and hidden wonders. Ever since she was a child, she had dreamt of visiting the bustling streets of this legendary metropolis, walking along the Thames, and gazing at the grandeur of Big Ben. But what made this trip truly special was the unexpected invitation she had received a month ago, an elegantly handwritten letter sealed with a wax stamp bearing the emblem of a family she had never heard of before. Emily had almost dismissed it as a mistake or some elaborate prank, but curiosity got the best of her. The letter had promised an all-expenses-paid trip to London, including a stay at the prestigious Kingsworth Manor, a historic estate nestled near Hyde Park. The sender had only signed their name as AW, with a simple message: "Your presence is requested for a matter of great importance. All shall be revealed upon your arrival." With her suitcase rolling behind her, Emily took a deep breath and hailed a cab. The driver, an elderly man with a thick Cockney accent, greeted her warmly. "First time in London, love?" he asked, glancing at her through the rear-view mirror. "Yes," she replied, her voice filled with anticipation. "And it's already full of surprises." The cab wove through the city, past historic landmarks that Emily had only seen in books and travel documentaries. Tower Bridge stood tall and magnificent, its Gothic towers piercing the gray sky. The London Eye loomed in the distance, and the scent of freshly baked pastries wafted from small bakeries lining the streets. The city was alive, and Emily felt like she had stepped into another world. 30 minutes later, the cab pulled up in front of Kingsworth Manor. The grand estate looked like something out of a Jane Austen novel: tall, ivy-covered walls, intricate iron gates, and a sprawling garden that seemed to have been frozen in time. As Emily stepped out, the massive oak doors creaked open, revealing a tall man dressed in a butler's uniform. "Miss Carter," he said with a polite nod. "Welcome to Kingsworth Manor. My name is Mr. Hawthorne, and I shall be at your service during your stay." Emily hesitated, gripping the handle of her suitcase. "Thank you, Mr. Hawthorne. But if I may ask, who exactly invited me here?" A knowing smile crossed the butler's face. "All will be explained in due time, Mississippi. For now, please allow me to show you to your quarters." The inside of the manor was even more breathtaking than she had imagined. Crystal chandeliers illuminated the grand hall, and oil paintings of distinguished-looking gentlemen and ladies lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow her as she walked past. The scent of polished wood and aged books filled the air. As Mr. Hawthorne led her to her room, Emily's mind raced with questions. Who was AW? Why had they gone through so much trouble to bring her here? And why did she have the strange feeling that she was being watched? The room assigned to Emily was nothing short of majestic. A grand canopy bed stood at the center, draped in deep burgundy fabrics that gave the room an air of royalty. A tall window overlooked the gardens, where moonlight cast eerie shadows over the perfectly manicured hedges. The antique desk and bookshelves filled with leather-bound tomes suggested that this room had belonged to someone important long ago. Emily set her suitcase down and exhaled. The excitement of the journey had worn her out, but sleep felt like a distant possibility with so many thoughts racing through her mind. She approached the window, gazing at the estate's sprawling grounds, when a sudden knock at the door made her jump. "Miss Carter?" She turned to see Mr. Hawthorne standing just outside the threshold. "Yes." "Dinner will be served in the dining hall in 30 minutes, he said with a polite bow. "You may wish to freshen up beforehand." Emily nodded. "Thank you, Mr. Hawthorne." As he disappeared down the dimly lit corridor, she sighed and opened her suitcase. As she unpacked, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. There was an uncanny stillness to the manor, as though the walls themselves were holding their breath. She stepped into the adjoining bathroom, washing her face with cool water. When she looked up, her reflection in the antique mirror appeared slightly distorted. Her own eyes seemed darker, deeper. She blinked and the vision vanished. Shaking off the unease, she changed into a more comfortable outfit and made her way downstairs. The halls of the manor were eerily silent, except for the occasional flicker of candlelight casting long, wavering shadows. As she reached the dining hall, the grandeur of the space took her breath away. A long mahogany table stretched across the room, adorned with golden candelabras and fine china. Seated at the head of the table was an elderly woman dressed in elegant Victorian attire, her silver hair neatly pinned. Her piercing blue eyes locked onto Emily the moment she entered. "Miss Carter," the woman said, her voice smooth yet commanding. "We finally meet." Emily hesitated. "You must be A.W.?" The woman's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Indeed. My name is Lady Agatha Renwood. And you, my dear, are here because you are part of something far greater than you realize." Emily's pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" Lady Renwood gestured to the seat beside her. "Sit, my dear. There is much to discuss, and very little time." A chill ran down Emily's spine as she obeyed. This was no ordinary vacation. This was the beginning of something much, much bigger. Emily sat across from Lady Renwood, her mind spinning with questions. The flickering candlelight cast long shadows across the dining hall, making the room feel both grand and ominous. A delicate porcelain teacup was placed in front of her, its floral pattern intricate and elegant. Lady Renwood took a slow sip of her tea before finally speaking. "Miss Carter, you must be wondering why you were brought here." Emily nodded. "I won't lie. It's been on my mind since I received the letter." "Who are you, and why do you seem to know me?" The elderly woman sighed, setting her cup down. "You are connected to this house in ways you do not yet understand." Emily frowned.
"Connected? How?"
Lady Renwood's eyes locked onto hers. "Because you are a descendant of the Renwood lineage." Emily's breath caught in her throat. "That's impossible. My family has never mentioned anything about the Renwoods." The old woman's expression softened. "That is because they didn't know. The truth has been buried for generations, hidden to protect you." Emily stared at her, stunned into silence. A secret family history? A hidden legacy? She had come to London expecting an adventure, but never in her wildest dreams had she imagined something like this. And then, just as she opened her mouth to speak, a distant sound echoed through the manor, a slow, deliberate creak of a door opening on its own. Something or someone was listening. The hidden passage stretched before Emily, like a tunnel through time. The walls, lined with aged brick, were damp to the touch, and the scent of old paper and dust lingered in the air. Lady Renwood held a candle in one hand, its flickering light casting eerie shadows on the stone floor. "This passage was built centuries ago," she explained. "It was used by my ancestors to move unseen throughout the manor." Emily followed cautiously, her fingers brushing against the cool brick as she walked. "Why was it hidden?" she asked, her voice echoing slightly. Lady Renwood paused, turning to face her. "Because it leads to something powerful," she said softly. "Something that has been kept secret for generations." Emily's pulse quickened. "What is it?" Instead of answering, Lady Renwood continued walking, leading Emily deeper into the passage. The flickering candlelight revealed a wooden door at the end of the corridor. Its surface was covered in strange carvings, symbols that Emily didn't recognize. Lady Renwood placed her hand on the door, murmuring something under her breath. The lock clicked and the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit chamber beyond. Inside, shelves upon shelves of ancient books and scrolls lined the walls. At the center of the room sat a large wooden desk, and on it lay a single leather-bound journal. Lady Renwood gestured for Emily to approach. "This," she said, "is the journal of Edmund Renwood, my great-great-grandfather. He was the last keeper of our family secret." Emily picked up the journal carefully, running her fingers over the worn leather cover. She flipped it open to the first page, her breath catching as she read the words scrawled in elegant handwriting. "To the one who finds this book, know that the Renwood legacy is both a gift and a curse. Within these pages lies the truth, a truth that has been hidden for too long." A chill ran down Emily's spine. She turned to Lady Renwood. "What truth?" The old woman's expression was solemn. "Read, my dear. You are the only one who can uncover it now." Emily swallowed hard, her hands trembling slightly as she turned the page. The secrets of the Renwood family were about to be revealed, and she wasn't sure she was ready for what she would find. Emily's hands trembled as she turned the delicate, yellowed pages of the journal. The more she read, the more a dark and chilling story began to unfold. Edmund Renwood had uncovered something in the depths of Kingsworth Manor, something that had changed his family's fate forever. The journal spoke of a hidden chamber buried beneath the manor, sealed away for centuries. Edmund had discovered it while renovating the East Wing, stumbling upon a staircase that had been bricked up long ago. What lay beyond had both fascinated and terrified him. Lady Renwood stood by Emily's side, her expression grim. "I know what you've read is difficult to comprehend," she said. "But you must understand, Emily, you are not here by accident. You were meant to uncover this." Emily lifted her gaze. "What do you mean?" Lady Renwood let out a slow breath. "You are connected to this place in ways you cannot yet imagine. But there is only one way to truly understand." She motioned toward the far end of the chamber. There, hidden behind a massive bookshelf, was a concealed doorway. With a firm push, Lady Renwood revealed a spiraling staircase that led downward into darkness. Emily's heart pounded. Every rational part of her screamed to turn back, to leave this mystery unsolved. But the pull was too strong. She had to know the truth. With a deep breath, she followed Lady Renwood down the steps, the flickering candlelight casting ghostly shadows on the stone walls. The air grew colder with each step, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed through the passage. After what felt like an eternity, they reached the bottom. A vast underground hall stretched before them, lined with torches that flickered to life as they entered. At the center of the room stood an enormous stone pedestal, upon which rested an ornate wooden chest, covered in iron locks and intricate carvings. "This," Lady Renwood whispered, "is what Edmund tried to keep hidden." Emily approached the chest cautiously. The symbols carved into its surface matched those she had seen on the journal's pages. With trembling hands, she reached out and touched the lid. The air seemed to shift. A deep rumble vibrated through the walls, and the torches flickered wildly. The locks unlatched on their own, and the chest creaked open. Inside, nestled in crimson velvet, lay an ancient key and a folded letter. Emily picked up the letter first, her breath catching as she recognized the handwriting. It was identical to the mysterious invitation she had received. "Dearest Emily, if you are reading this, then you have made it this far. You are the last hope of the Renwood legacy. The key before you unlocks the final door, the door to the truth. But be warned, once opened, there is no turning back. A.W." Emily exchanged a glance with Lady Renwood, her mind reeling. "Who is A.W.?" she whispered. Lady Renwood hesitated before answering. "That, my dear, is something only the final door can tell you." Emily's fingers curled around the key. The final door awaited, and with it, the ultimate revelation of the secrets buried beneath Kingsworth Manor. Emily's fingers tightened around the ancient key as she stood before the final door. Every event, every secret, every mystery had led her to this moment. Lady Renwood's gaze remained steady, her expression unreadable. The underground chamber around them was silent except for the distant echo of dripping water. She inhaled deeply and stepped forward, inserting the key into the ornate lock. It turned with a resounding click, and the heavy stone door groaned as it slowly crept open, revealing a chamber unlike any other she had seen. Inside, golden light reflected off polished marble walls. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which rested an old leather-bound book. Emily recognized the emblem on its cover. It was the same one from the letter she had received. Above it, an intricate stained-glass window cast colored light across the chamber, illuminating the faded words inscribed on the pedestal. "The Guardian's Legacy, the truth of the Renwood bloodline." Lady Renwood stepped beside her, her voice quiet but firm. "This book holds the answer to your questions, Emily." Emily hesitated for only a moment before she reached out, her fingers brushing against the aged leather cover. As soon as she touched it, a warmth spread through her hands, as if the book itself was alive. She opened it carefully, her eyes scanning the first few pages, and as she read, a shiver ran down her spine. The Wrenwood family had been keepers of a powerful secret for centuries, a secret buried beneath Kingsworth Manor. A secret tied not only to their name, but also to Emily's own lineage. She wasn't just a visitor. She was part of this legacy. Lady Wrenwood placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. AW wasn't just anyone, Emily. Those initials belong to your ancestor, Arthur Wrenwood. He left this message for you, knowing that one day you would return. Emily's breath caught in her throat. But I never knew. You were never meant to, Lady Wrenwood admitted. Until now. Tears welled in Emily's eyes as she turned the pages, absorbing every piece of history, every truth that had been hidden from her. Her trip to London had begun as an invitation from a stranger, but it had become something far greater. She had come seeking adventure. What she had found was her destiny. As the final words of the book settled in her heart, Emily knew that her life would never be the same. Kingsworth Manor was not just a place of mystery, it was her home, and its secrets were now hers to protect. The door had been opened, and there was no turning back.